Hello. Hi. This is definitely not the third time that I've had to do this. I am a professional and only need one take for everything. Regardless, we're going to be going over solar keywords today. My plan is for the next couple of videos to go over all the aspects of solar. Uh, Aspects might not be the proper word here, but I think you know what I mean. All of the different things that happen on solar subclasses, including its keywords. Keywords are extremely important because they are how you interact with the solar sandbox. For instance, Radiant. Radiance increases weapon damage by 25% for 10 seconds. In PvE, PvP equivalents are 10% here in this case. All this information. Whoa, that was bad. All of this information is coming from the Destiny Data Compendium. It's a thing that most of the people who watch my videos right now, because I kind of make these for my friends, have no freaking idea what I'm talking about. So I figured I would get this information, kind of chop it up, put it on here, and display what is happening. But basically, you just get a damage increase. The ways to acquire this damage increase are inherent to your subclass, which we will go over in future videos, or it is inherent to a fragment, or two, to some degree, or maybe a weapon. There's a bunch of different ways to proc it, but the key here is to know that you are proccing Radiant for a 25% damage bonus, and it helps you stun anti-barrier shields, or I guess anti-barrier champions. As long as your weapon doesn't already have some sort of anti-champion rounds, then it will automatically now break barrier champion shields. So yeah, that was not a struggle at all for me. Alright, next up, healing shit. Which would be cure and restoration. In this example, I'm using the healing grenade to make these things work. Let's see if I can pause it here. Nope, I don't know what I'm doing. So anyways, pause it if you have to. Basically, what cure does is it gives you 60 health in PvE. Mind you, we should have around 201 health at max in PvE. I know they did some changes for PvP, but I'm pretty sure that the health values stay the same in PvE, which means that 60 would be a pretty good chunk of your health to be immediately acquiring because of Cure. You can also get up to Cure times 2, which just doubles the effect. I think you even have a chance to get times 3 in some cases, but typically you're just going to get 1 or 2. And 2 gives you 120. Again, a lot of health. You can find that on the perk Heal Clip, which is now stupid good in PvE. If you want to just not die, get a kill, reload, while you have a Heal Clip, bam, 120 health. Don't think you're dying as long as you can kill things fast enough. Restoration. Restoration works just like your recovery does, in which it heals you over time. There is a percentage of heals that it gives you at one time that you can read that I am not currently going to read. Because I am lazy, but I have it there. It's in the information. You can see it. It's right there. Okay. You can also times 2 it. Times 2 would double the health per second that you acquire. Really good for just healing. You also have fragments that can extend the duration of all 3 of these. I typically call these here that I have grouped up the things that affect you. They're like the positives, and then the things that affect the enemy to some degree are negatives, which I guess is really just these two. So it should be split up more like this. The negatives, the positives, and the sprite. Speaking of sprite, we have fire sprites, which is what I'm going to call the rest of these, even though they're not all actually sprites. It just helps me keep up with what they are. It is a solar elemental pickup that you can get through things like the seasonal weapon being the Dragon's Breath. You can see it forces those to drop. You can also get them from fragments. Um, yeah, certain fragments in the solar subclass, whenever you pick them up, it gives you 12.5% of your grenade energy. Upon the pickup, you can also get it to do other things if you have other fragments, such as starting restoration, amongst other things. So basically, it gives you free grenade energy and other things if you build into it, which is nice. Alright, so the next thing we want to talk about would be Scorch. This is where it gets complicated, so just attempt to follow me here, okay? Burn, alright? I know, a lot of words up there, but don't panic, okay? I'm gonna explain. So, Scorch is a debuff applied to the enemy that is what it sounds like. It just burns the enemy. That's what the little tick damage is there, right? This gun in particular just does that, okay, which is why you're seeing it as such at current. Scorch gives or it has a percentage, right? It goes from 0 to 100 of active Scorch, okay? Once you get to 100, then you have an ignition, but that's something we're gonna go over in just a minute. What Scorch does is it does damage over time. The higher the Scorch, the longer and the more damage you have. So if you have 90 Scorch, you're gonna be doing more Scorch damage for a longer period of time, but it decays. So as it decays, it also loses its damage. As you can see here, I hit him a couple times and he's at 161, and then the longer it goes on, it drops lower, 160, 140, so on and so forth, 623. I didn't give it a lot of time to breathe, but yeah, that's the thought process. Is the more Scorch you do, the closer you get to 100%, the higher the tick damage will be, and the longer it'll go on for. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that's important to this right now. So now we're gonna slide over to Ignitions. And Ignitions is a massive explosion that happens once you reach 100 Scorch. It also stuns unstoppable champions, so it's a free way to get unstoppables to be stunned by just igniting them, which just means that you gotta hit 100 Scorch. Different ways to apply Scorch would be, as you can see here, weapon or exotic weapons. There are perks or traits on weapons that will allow you to apply Scorch. Your artifact, obviously, you can do things that let you apply Scorch. Almost all of the abilities that you have, your abilities, grenades, melees, and so on and so forth on Solar, have some way to interact with Scorch, as well as fragments. There is a particular fragment that will increase the amount of Scorch damage you do. Each one of the different sources of Scorch can be increased to do more Scorch with this fragment. I know. It's a lot of information. Just bear with me here, okay? It's really not... Okay, you do kind of need a degree in Scorchology to make this make sense. So hopefully this makes sense. If you have any questions, just ask me or read the information that's on screen. While it's on screen, I'm here to help you out, okay? Because we have to move on a little bit to 102 of Scorch and Ignition, because they work together, they tie together. Ignition damage is based off the initial Scorch primer, right? I know, the big words. Primer being the first thing that causes Scorch. So your primer would be whatever the first thing is that causes Scorch. If you increase the damage, the thing that causes the initial Scorch does, the larger the explosion of Ignition will be. I know, but it makes sense because it's built into Solar, and Solar has a way to increase your weapon damage. So as you can see here, right, we're doing, we do what, like 9,000? It'll show in a second. Yeah, like a 9,000, almost 10,000 damage in that Ignition. If we are Radiant, we would increase, if we're Radiant when we first shoot this opponent, right? we will increase the ignition damage by 25% because radiant increases your damage by 25%, right? So the first thing that touches a target to scorch it, whatever damage increase it has, ignition inherits. This is important because there are multiple ways to not only increase your weapon damage, but to increase your ability damage. So if you want bigger boom, right, you need to start the fire with more damage. It's just that simple. I do not have an example of this because I just thought about it and now I feel stupid for not having an example of this. But that is how that works. Now the hard part is to find out what reaches 100 scorch consistently. We'll go over that whenever we start going over our grenades, because almost all of the grenades outside of the healing grenade, which we spoke on earlier, deal damage, and because they deal damage, they deal scorch because they are part of the solar subclass. Same thing with all of the melee abilities, or at least almost all of them, okay? You can't blanket anything in Destiny because it's stupid. Anyways, that's what I wanted to go over today. This is a, 12 minute video, so it's pretty good, not that bad. And, again, if you have any questions about Scorch, let me know. After talking about it now, I think I should probably just do a video specifically on Scorch and Ignition based off how complicated it is. Which will probably be a shorter video, but just to get my point across and show more visual aids. Everything else seems to have worked out pretty good. Once I go over Scorch and Ignition again, well, actually, I'll probably just mix it together. I think that's a good idea. I'll do grenades and then Scorch and Ignition all together. That makes the most sense to me. Then we'll go over aspects and, well, yeah, aspects and fragments. So, yeah. Later.